All right, this is going to be a follow-up to a video that I put out earlier this week about Todd Monken's offense after I looked at Georgia film and previous, 6, 8 weeks ago, looked at some film from Tampa Bay and some film from his time in Cleveland, and also an attempt by myself to be a little bit more specific and show more game film. So what I'm going to do is look at a specific coverage that the Steelers are going to play to one side of the field. It's typically their left, the offense is right. And then explain, I think I'm going to show 4 instances of it. I'm going to mix in other coverages, to be honest with you, that are not to read. This one, I believe, is to read. I'll let the play run from the All-22 first, and then bring it back from the beginning. This is filmed from 2020. I believe Lamar was out with COVID. This game, it's a pick 6 by Joe Hayden against RG3. It's a form of to read that they're playing, where the Steelers are thinking they're going to get these 2 routes, number 1 on a vertical and number 2 on some type of out. And what they do basically is they let the corner and the safety both read number 2, hence the name to read. And if 2 goes out, then the corner jumps the out by 2, plays the outside leverage of it. The inside backer plays the inside leverage of it. And then the safety plays over the top of the vertical by number 1. We'll let this run 1 or 2 more times, let you see it from the All-22. They get RG3 here with the out. This is a classic Steelers coverage. To the right, you can see the inside leverage of the inside linebacker. He went with the little, in fake by I think it's Prochet. And then the outside leverage of the corner, you can see that you've got a receiver running up the field, but this safety's just waiting for the ball to be thrown and try to break vertical on it. They get a pick 6 against RG3 early in the game. This also, I'm going to digress for a moment, is one of the things that annoys me when people say this quarterback is better than that quarterback. Sometimes things happen in an order such that the second quarterback in the game or later on in the season benefits from what happened to the first quarterback. This, I believe, was the first possession of the game for the Ravens. I could be wrong. I know it was early in the game. There we go right there. First quarter. Later on in the game, you can see by the scoreboard here, fourth quarter, Trace McSorley's now in the game. RG3, I believe, went out with an injury. Same thing here, same concept. Out by number 1 or number 2. And an outside release go by number 1, which in this case is Marquise Brown. I think that is still Joe Hayden on the right. And he's going to try to jump the out. McSorley doesn't try to throw it up the sideline. I don't think he believed he had enough arm to get it there. He tries to just shoot it in there over top of the corner, underneath the safety. In this case, it works. Touchdown to Marquise Brown. I said this in a video breakdown that I did before. I'm not into like this quarterback's better than that one, et cetera, et cetera. To me, if you reverse the quarterbacks and Trace McSorley is in the game in the first quarter and RG3 is in the game now, as I'm showing you this film in mid-fourth quarter, you're probably talking about the same exact 2 things happening. My point is Trace McSorley benefited from what happened to RG3 earlier and then was able to recognize the circumstances by which the Steelers were going to play this coverage and take advantage of it. Now, how does this relate to Lamar and Todd Monken? I think that the Ravens, in a lot of ways, did a very poor job attacking certain coverages that they knew were coming. Now, I don't know when the Ravens knew certain coverages were coming, other than very specific examples like this one that I can find and talk to you about. This is now the second time that I've done a video on it on this channel. Certainly, we would expect the Ravens and Todd Monken and their coaches to know when certain coverages are coming, meaning understand the circumstances by which they're going to get to read and get a corner who's jumping it and take advantage of it. That's their job. And that was Greg Roman's job. And I believe that's one of the things he did the poorest job of, was taking advantage of certain coverages that they were going to get in certain points of the game. And I think that's why so many teams played split field coverages against the Ravens, because they recognized that this is one of the things we generally did a very poor job of. Now, split field coverage, as I mentioned that, just pay attention to the downside of the screen here. As you're getting an inside leverage, inside linebacker, and then a corner who's willing to jump the out by number 2, which in this case is a tight end. Pay attention to these coverages down here. When I say split field coverage, what I mean is you're getting 2 different coverages oftentimes to one side of the field or the other. Sometimes you're getting man to the left side of the offense and two read to the top side. Sometimes you're getting some other version of a coverage to the top side and two read to the bottom side. That's what, to me, makes it so dangerous for the defense, and that's what puts a lot of the onus on the coaches and the quarterback to identify those coverages. Now let's look at Lamar in 2022. You're going to get a similar concept up top, out by number 2 to Andrews, and a vertical by Marquise Brown. Were this ball to be thrown earlier when McSorley threw it, you're talking about a completion to Marquise Brown up the right sideline. Let me get it paused. Now, it's not Joe Hayden, but you can see these guys are signaling to each other now. Fitzpatrick is not looking, but there's a hand signal being thrown up right now by that corner, letting the safety, in this case Fitzpatrick, know what he's playing as you get the out by Andrews. I think it's a little bit more of a quicker out. And you can see right around in this area here, Marquise Brown has identified it post-snap, once the ball is snapped, that he's wide open because he himself has recognized the coverage. He should. He's the guy who caught the touchdown pass the year before in Pittsburgh. Lamar recognizes it a little too late, in my opinion. Well, he recognizes it soon enough to not throw the out and throw an interception. But in my opinion, this ball should be out of Lamar's hands somewhere in this area here to give Marquise Brown a chance to catch it up the right sideline. Now, there's going to be somebody who's going to say, well, he's saying Lamar is slow at recognizing things. He's saying this. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm going to show some examples to illustrate that that's not my point. My overall point is I think Todd Monken will be way better than Greg Roman at teaching Lamar and the receivers to recognize certain coverage alignments, certain situations that are going to give you, in this case, two read to the top side of the field, and what to me now looks like basically two man to the bottom side of the field, meaning man-to-man here, and this safety helping out over the top. Two totally different coverages, and the routes are also different as well. I'll show you the end zone angle so you can see what Lamar's looking at. I mean, personally, I recognize that he should throw this ball to Marquise Brown given what the coverage is. Quarterbacks, players recognize it during the game based on what they're taught during the week. And you can see that Lamar sees something right about now because he decides not to throw it, pump fakes it, and the ball to Marquise Brown, yes, draws a DPI on Minkah Fitzpatrick, but we would have liked to have had that ball out sooner, completed somewhere up in this area, I believe, to give Marquise Brown a chance to catch it before Fitzpatrick got there, run up the sideline, make another touchdown catch. We'll let it run one more time, and then I'll show you 2 or 3 examples of me saying Lamar does recognize coverages when given the specific details and information to allow him to do so. I think that's one of the things we were weakest at offensively in the last couple of years. Attacking certain fronts with the run was not our weakness. As this develops, you're going to get, I think Andrews running like a shallow right there. I've shown this many times. Duve running this route right here. And the backside X, I think, is going to run like a stop or maybe a comeback. And Lamar's going to visually check here first and then there and go to Duve. And the ball placement of this and his ability to recognize it this quickly should tell us that he's able to recognize situations based on the coverage and the routes that he's given. I mean, he's a professional football player, and this is what he practices all week. Check his eyes. I think he's already looked off screen here to confirm that the corner is man, and I think now he's locked on the safety, who's to the bottom right of our screen, outside of the screen, I should say. You can see Duve running this kind of over route here, and some people would say, well, this ball's underthrown. No, it's not. It's perfectly thrown down to protect Duvernay, keep him from this free safety, and keep him from this nickel safety, rolled up strong safety to the boundary. We'll let it run a couple more times from the all-22 so you can see what I'm talking about. This is one of the things Greg Roman does in terms of trying to beat cover 3, is he would run a short route with the X and then run something over the top of it to take advantage of this space. In this case, Lamar sees the safety to the boundary and the free safety basically triangulating Duvernay's route, and he throws it underneath of and inside of both of them. I think it's a spectacular throw, and I'm using it as an example to say that Lamar, when given information, can process things quickly. One of the things that I felt like Greg Roman was very poor at attacking was too high split field coverages. And one of the reasons I think Todd Monken was hired is because the split field, too high coverage guru, at least in college football, is Nick Saban. I mean, a cover 7 is essentially a pattern read system. And I think this ball is out a quarter of a second too late for me. Other people disagreed with me when I originally said that. This is 2022 play action. Deshaun Jackson running a deep release, making it look like he's going vertical, and then snapping this thing back towards Lamar while Duvernay basically clears out this free safety, takes him out of the picture. Lamar's reading that. You can see right now, and you get the, I don't know if you get the end zone angle, actually, this one. You can see he's looking downfield here to check and make sure Duvernay is covered. It's essentially the same concept I just showed you in terms of the clear out route from one side of the field, Duvernay's. It's a mirror image in some ways, except he's running a deeper version of it, trying to see what this corner does. If this corner bites up on something in the flats to the bottom side of our screen, which usually is a delayed release by Ricard or someone into the flats. The Raiders in 2021 had corners that jumped this, and then Sammy Watkins, if you remember, caught this route from the other side of the screen. Lamar is confirming that that's not available to him, and then bringing it back to Deshaun Watson, and I think that's what ends up making this, in my opinion, released about a quarter second later than I think it should be, especially if you watch the timing of Lamar's play action fake, and then getting that back foot in the ground right here, and getting ready to push off. In my opinion, the ball should be out slightly earlier and give Deshaun Jackson a chance to catch it before this DB can recover. Pretty good recovery by the DB. There wasn't a huge amount of separation, but certainly enough. Great ball by Lamar, great concept. We just didn't see enough of it. All right, now a 2022 example of two read. Again, it's going to be to our right. The defense is left. So the inside leverage, inside linebacker is here. Frankie Lavu, one of the most underrated players in the league. I think this is Jace Horn playing the Joe Hayden technique. And here's the safety that would play the vertical by number 1, which in this case is DeMarcus Robinson, when the corner plays the out by 2. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Let's let it run. Again, two read. And an example of Lamar and Greg Roman and the offense being prepared with a route combination to handle it, to threaten it. Because normally what you're getting is a vertical by 1, an out by 2, and this safety can kind of, not flat, but can kind of play it a little bit flat towards the sideline. In this case, DeMarcus Robinson puts his foot in the ground and crosses face and damn near takes this thing to the house. It's two read, very similar to what Joe Hayden got that pick 6 on, to what Marquise Brown got the touchdown catch on in 2021, and to what Lamar got the defensive pass interference call on the late throw to Marquise Brown in 2022. Same situation, Lamar pump faking to the out here, and then they've made an adjustment, brought this thing back to the inside, crossed the safety's face. That, to me, is what we didn't see enough of from Greg Roman in the passing game in 2022. Even 2021 as the season progressed. And what I think is Todd Monken's biggest calling. Figure out a way to determine the coverage of the defense. Maybe not pre-snap, but right after the snap. In some cases, it's line up and empty. And maybe you've got a situation where they're always playing 3-over-2, and all Lamar's got to do is read this corner on an out by 2. Who knows what the indicator is that they've figured out, but in any case, they've got it. This just, to me, just didn't happen enough in Baltimore in 2022. Todd Monken has had to figure those out against Nick Saban, the college football guru of split field pattern read coverages. Whether it's cover 3, whether it's split field quarter stuff. Maybe I'm not making my point enough there. A couple of more instances of Lamar reading certain things. Now, this is snag flat to the top of the screen, and then a little over route by Andrews from the opposite side of the screen. Great play by Andrews, great throw by Lamar, don't get me wrong, but watch Lamar's face mask as you get snag by Bateman. I think something out to the flats here, and then Andrews on this over concept. Watch Lamar's head and where he looks. Definitely is looking backside towards Bateman now. checking to see what kind of coverage he's got there. Very similar to the play that I think I showed you against the Colts from 2021. If this corner's man, he's not going to get off and defend this area here. So Lamar understands, okay, now I've got Andrews. Quick, simple, easy against man. It's not too read. It doesn't go along with the first couple of plays that I showed you, but it's an example of very quick reads by Lamar. I think Roman's offense was better relatively for himself against cover 3 and man free. I don't think he attacked too high safety looks, quarters, split field coverage as well compared to cover 3 and man free. I think he was used to seeing so many 8-man fronts. Now, seen complaints about this play before. This is Bateman bringing this in on like a little slant. I think you've got Likely, bringing this back under. Duve on the touchdown catch, fantastic play. And the route that people have trouble with is that Andrews' route is kind of bringing him into Bateman. In my opinion, Andrews' route is just designed to give Duve and or Likely an opportunity to make the play. When you get the end zone angle, I think you'll be able to confirm this. Again, another example of what I would say is really cool design. It's third down, and you're using Andrews to give other people a one-on-one. When I say that, what I mean is you got a guy guarding Andrews here, someone sitting in the middle of the field, and Lamar sees that. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see it. You got the option of Likely underneath here, Duvernay here. I don't believe that anything is designed to come back here at all. Lamar can read things quickly, process them if he's prepared and given the information in a way that he's able to quickly apply during the game. I think you'll see Lamar's head shift just a little bit. I'll try to pause it at the right time. I think basically he's going to look over here initially and then look back to the middle of the field and confirm that this guy stayed there and then go to Duve on the corner route. I think he first, maybe I paused it too late, first looked over here wider. Look back to the middle, and now he's come back to Duve. My point is there is plenty of film, and maybe I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, of Lamar Jackson processing things quickly, making a decision, going to a particular route, more so against man free and cover 3. I think Todd Monken specifically was brought in to prepare Lamar and the entire offense for how to attack too high safety structure, split field coverages, hopefully gives Lamar some pre-snap and post-snap indicators so that we can see more plays like the touchdown pass to Marquise Brown by Trace McSorley in 2021. Situations where we know the coverage that a team's going to play, specifically the Steelers, Bengals, or maybe even the Browns, and then we can take advantage of it with route combinations that make things easier on our quarterback, easier on our receivers. That's the point I'm trying to make in part 1 of this. I will have a part 2 that maybe I'll be able to get done with by Sunday night of the Ravens attacking the Broncos and certain coverages they played over 2021 and 2022, and how the Ravens didn't do a good job as often attacking the open space, the areas that were open pre-snap, with any route combination that make things easier on our quarterback to get simple completions and put him in position to convert third downs like some of the plays that I just showed you. Let me know if you think I got to the point at all in this video. I wanted to show some film, some actual film of Lamar throwing the football and what I believe will be Todd Monken's biggest task. Not to fix Lamar Jackson, not to get Lamar Jackson to process things quicker, but to have route combinations built in and reads and checks built in to let him attack too high safety split field coverages in a more efficient manner than we did the last 2 years under Greg Roman, because I believe that was one of the biggest downfalls of his offense. Guys, let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoy the video, and if you really enjoyed it, think other Ravens fans would like it, please consider sharing a link to it on social media to help this video get more reach.